So welcome to the webinar today, hosted by Sony, around where openness meets intelligence. And we're here today at Sony's studio in Lund, Sweden. Lund, Sweden is the home and birth town of Bluetooth, and actually also the birth town of Nimway, the solution that we are representing here today. So with me on the stage here today, I have John.
Hi, LG, and Martin.
And Morten.
Martin, yeah.
And John, just do you want to introduce yourself very shortly?
Certainly. So welcome to all the guests. My name is John Wang. I'm CEO of IAdea. We partner with Nimway to provide the room booking panels. And hopefully some of you are already IAdea panel owners. And today I want to share a little bit of works behind the scene and also what to look forward going into the future. So great to have you here.
Yes, so Martin Osterberg, head of technology for the Nimway solution, and really exciting to be here also.
So thank you for joining us here today. So, and myself, I'm Lars Gunnar Landgren, heading up the Nimway business here at Sony. And during the webinar today, if you have any questions or do you want to reach out to us, just reach out to us through the chat here you can see on live, and we'll respond after the webinar in around 30 minutes from now. So with that, take it to the first question that we start the webinar with. So the first question that we have here is, how have workplace expectations and technology evolved over the past few years? And John, maybe you can start just briefly on your view.
I'll be very happy to. So we're quite fortunate to witness the entire evolution of the workplace since the onset of COVID. So in the past 5 years, we've first seeing many of us, as the corporate end users, struggling to figure out what to do with the new normal, how to apply technology. And then slowly we see successful use cases that people start sharing. And to this date, I think we have a lot of best practices. Definitely there's a lot of application of technology, a lot of use of sensors. More so, we're seeing now we're shifting the focus from achieving efficiency in the workplace to how to deliver the best employee experience to drive productivity. And we'll see this as a maturing of needs in the workplace. And we're quite excited to look into the future, especially now in the context of AI technology. There's a lot of new applications, a lot of new ideas that people are talking about. So perhaps that's something that we can share more today.
Great. Morten.
Yes, so what we see, coming back from COVID and working from home and all that, we see that there's a shift towards consumerization of the workplace. And what that means is actually it means that you expect the same experience in the office as you have at home. And the experience and the user interfaces should be as good as that. So we see more and more products and services being more user-focused and business-to-business focused.
Thank you so much. I think that's really good here to discuss further on. But first, let's dig in a little bit to what are the most important challenges or opportunities in the workplace right now. And let me start a little bit with an introduction based on Leesman's report that was quite recently released here. So I think everyone is aware of Leesman as a company. They do big surveys among employees. They also done a big survey among real estate leaders, so executives in facility and real estate management. And this report that was recently revealed has 3 themes. So it's around hybrid working, employee experience, optimized real estate for portfolio. And basically there's a few things that you can really pick up in this report. And 95% of all the executives in the report actually stated that their return to office policy was not really finished yet. They still need to work on their ways of getting back to the office. They also showed when people was coming to the office, was that a decision made from the company, or was it from the organization, or was it a personal decision for each employee? And from this report, actually, it's only 5% that has full freedom to decide if they're coming into the office or not. The next part here around employee experience. One thing that was really interesting from this part of report was that 52% of the executives actually stated that informal and spontaneous meetings was a key activity. And this is something that we see as something really important when we're out there discussing with customers as well. And then, of course, looking at the third big point is around optimization. And here, 74% of the companies that was interviewed in the report here actually stated that they're going to oversee their portfolio for real estate and doing some cuts. So as you can see here on the screen, there are different alternatives on how you can cut your actual real estate. But to do this in a smart way, you need data. You need to understand how to use space in the most optimal way. So Morten, do you want to elaborate on what Sony is doing in this field and what Nimway can help with?
Yes, if you go back one. Sorry. So for the hybrid working part, Nimway, of course, helps in different way. And one such way is the team schedule that we recently launched that helps you, show to your colleagues when you will come into the office and when you will be working at home, for example. And then you have the analytics platform to understand the actual usage of the office, of course. And then for the employee experience, we support the true real-time occupancy. So let the employees know exactly which resources are occupied and not at any time. And for the optimizing in real estate, we have our analytics platform where we try to make sense of all the data that we collect in a very easy way.
And I also see it for the portfolio of real estate that you have.
Yeah, of course, yes.
You can compare different sites and how to efficiently use the space. So if we take the next slide here and going over to you, John, you have another report that's quite interesting. Well,
so this is a report, the Flex Index, which is a very useful study. They actually did a continuous study of how people are handling flexible workspace. And I think it complements to what LG and Martin was talking about in that it is a evolving topic. And at the same time, it's actually, there's no one size fit all solution. For different types of organization, there are different policies. And it's quite interesting. On the left-hand side, we're seeing that there's almost a three-way split between companies that give employee full flexibility as to when they want to come into the office. There's similar number in that companies that require a number of set days in the office. Also, almost similar number to companies that require full attendance, full presence in the office. And if we look deeper in the report, we can also find that this policy changes differently between industry to industry. Also, with the passing of time, that also changes quite a bit. So I think the takeaway from this is that you cannot handle this without technology. You need to have a automated system with intelligent decision making that backs up and to support all these evolving and complex corporate policy.
Perfect. Thank you, John. That takes us into the next question here as well. So what technologies are available to address these challenges? And Morten, if you want to start.
Yep. So what you're seeing here is quite a slide, but it's sort of the overview of the Nimway system. What I want to show with this is that we have different kinds of data coming in from the right here. And the accuracy and the frequency of this data is, of course, very different depending on which sensor produces them. So you can use different sensors for different use cases. And, bringing the employee experience, you need very high accuracy real-time data, of course, to drive those user interfaces and what we show on the IAdea panels, for example. And, of course, quality is very important in this full picture to build a trust around the system for the employees.
Yeah, I think all this collection of data is not just for the sake of being able to compute math problems, do analysis. It's really there to drive people's behavior. For example, when we talk about, I think later on we'll touch on using technology to help conserve energy. We have implementations where when there is not full attendance, we try to push employees to certain floors of the space. There you need screens, you need signs that dynamically change and gives people guidance on how they should behave given a certain situation. And room booking panel is the area that we really specialize in. And there, it's a simple indicator to which rooms are available. So when people take the effort to go into the office, you want to give them the easiest access to available bookable meeting spaces and without conflict. So if someone made a reservation for a given space, you want to clearly show the space is occupied. You don't want to cause confusion. I think later on we're going to talk about you want to build a system that employees can depend on. And once the build that happen, then you can really drive change in the organization.
And really helping with this informal and spontaneous meetings that I saw was so important for employees.
It is key.
Oh, yeah. We actually had one of our biggest customers here at Sony Nimway that this is the really key. They want to drive more spontaneous meetings, to have more innovation and have more speed in organization. So they see this is the key for them. So I think this is something we need to continue to work on. So if we continue to the next slide, we discussed a little bit around open and what that means. So maybe we should just, what is an open workplace system?
Yeah, and I think it centers around these three pillars here: portability of data and hardware. I mean, you should be able to export data at any time, and you should be able to export data in a standardized format that you can import into other systems, and also use open hardware for reuse or potential reuse. And also, if we can look at extensibility, I mean, you should be able to extend your system that you have invested in with new custom integrations that you might have that suit your company. And then interoperability, you should play well with other systems, and you should have a seamless integration. It could be a third-party hardware like other sensors, but also different services.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Martin pointed out. And we can bring the next slide. So literally, last week, I had a discussion with a new client that's coming on board. It's a very important financial services provider. And literally, they're quite straightforward on the phone. They said they prefer to use our platform mainly because it's an open platform. Why? Because the building is being planned to be built in 3 years. They were very honest. They literally have no idea what system they might be using because as we saw, policies kept changing, technology kept changing. There's AI coming to the scene. It's very harming, to be honest. It's very hard to know what's going to happen. So, today, one of the theme of our talk today, having an open platform where your technology can evolve with the changing demand is critical to a lot of the decision makers, to a lot of the end users.
I completely agree with you. And I also think that from Sony's perspective, that's using your panels as part of our system. We're totally open for this as well. And we don't see this as a challenge because we see that we have such a great customer base that is loyal to the brand and loyal to the solution. So right. I think this is really the right way to go. You use open platform, open hardware that can be used. So let's continue to the next. This is around trust, and elaborating a little bit more on trust.
Yes,
and because I think that's important. Part of this openness and trust between companies, trust to the IT organization. So Morten, do you want to start a little bit on?
Yeah, I think trust is something that is earned over time, but I think there are some fundamental topics that are key for a trustworthy system, and of course, quality is such a key area here. And if we look, beyond ISO 9001, you need to do a quality and compliance assurance of both, the internal systems, but also like if you bring in third-party hardware like your panels. And the next one is privacy. And here you, of course, have to look beyond the GDPR. That is a requirement, and always let the user be in control and opt in for any features that involves privacy. And then we have security. So we have to look beyond ISO 27001, which is one of the reasons we chose you guys, because we're also certified.
Yeah.
And you have to do external security reviews and pen testing. Openness, I think we touched upon already. Regulations, you have to be able to look at what regulations are coming up. So, for example, we have the EU Data Act that will be taken into effect in September. That will actually mandate openness of data. And then, of course, we have accuracy. You have to have an accurate system that shows the correct status of resources. Otherwise, the end users won't trust it over time. And then we have the AI ethics, and Sony actually have an AI ethics board that will govern the control of the AI that we develop, and see that it's fair and transparent and accountable.
Yeah, I very much agree with Martin's point. If we come on the next slide, we built enterprise-grade devices, and we really think trust is the key success factor, or KSF, in deploying workplace services. And we summarize into 3 points, almost in similar way that Martin pointed out. But I think fundamentally, having the employee trust the system, knowing that the information it provides is correct, so they can base their actions on the information they see on these devices, is critical. We have numerous times seen clients come to us, telling us that they introduced a space booking system and nobody wants to use it. The main reason is because people feel frustrated when they made a reservation. They show up to the room, they see someone sitting in the room. Without a room booking panel, it's very hard to let people know that the room has been reserved. People would not want to pull out their phone just to check to see if that room is available. They see an empty room, they go and sit down. So the person who actually made a reservation feel frustrated. Once you fail that accountability of the system, then nobody wants to spend that extra effort to book. On the flip side, being safe and secure, people know, there's a lot of information you put into the system, who you're meeting, when you're meeting, who are in the meeting. So these need to be kept in a secure way. So we go through extra length. Martin mentioned ISO 27001. It's almost a required minimum requirement for large enterprises. And last but not least is that you got to make sure that the system is robust, is available to anyone who needs to access it. So these are the 3 pillars that we build upon to have that trust in the platform that we provide.
I think you're really right here, John. And really, that not having a system where you can double book. So booking from different spaces, if it's your mobile, if it's from the tablet outside or from your computer, it shouldn't be a sync issue. So that's a very important part. And the other part I think is really important as well, that we work tightly on here as well, is the real-time aspect, to really see when a space is being occupied and not.
Right.
Because when you're looking for a room, it's here and now. I want to find a room right now. It's not how it was 5 or 10 minutes ago. It's here and now. That's important for me. So I think you're really onto something here.
Totally.
If we go to the next one here. So you mentioned a little bit about AI and AI ethics, and that part of the speech here today as well. Mm-hmm. So can you elaborate a little bit more around the practical application of AI in the physical workspace? And I know that Sony did a survey. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so first we really wanted to understand what our customers were expecting of AI, what the AI should solve. So we did a survey, as you mentioned, among facility leaders. So all the findings are presented in a report, and I think we'll be able to share that report with you attending this webinar afterwards. So what we found here was 3 key things that came out of this. And one of them was the office space design advice. And this is the sort of overview of how Nimway today provides already an overview of how spaces are being used and which spaces are rarely used and so on. And we also do smart reports concerning your office space. And this is based on all the data that, of course, we collect from all the sensors in the system. Then the second one was automation, and automation of HVAC and ACs and lighting and so on. And Nimway being a real-time information system, we can provide if the space is being occupied or not, and also the density of people in that space. And then we have a AI booking assistant for employees. And already today, I mean, Nimway can have a room intelligence that will nudge you if the air quality gets bad in the room, and also if you the attendance of your meeting, if people decline, we can suggest a smaller room to optimize the workspace time. So the bar chart on the right here is sort of the maternity of the AI adoption rate in the office, and we can see that more than half of the facility leaders here we're going to adopt AI in the coming years.
I think this mirrors very much to what we see among our clients as well. I think using data and analytics to drive design of the workplace it's a theme that has been there in the past 3 to 5 years. It's very key for organizations to understand what kind of meeting, what size of the meetings the employees are having. Are they needing smaller spaces, maybe 2 to 4 people, mainly teleconference space, or are they needing larger spaces for team meetings? They come in once a week. They need to have a room that can hold 15 to 20 people for large teams. So that data is definitely driving construction decisions on the kind of spaces to provide, whether it's fixed space, it's flexible space, partition space that can dynamically change. It's now a lot of this can be provided by looking at the data. And then I think having the automation that Martin talked about is also something that a lot of our customers are doing already. Mainly because I think we all know that building is probably the highest energy consuming sector. In some studies, even more than transportation. It's also emits the biggest amount of greenhouse gases. So we want to drive those down to reduce, and AI technology can fully help with that. So, for example, turning on the fans when the CO2 level rises is something very commonly adopted. I think some of the green certification requirements also are based on you having smart sensors in the room, having analytics. Same thing with lighting. If there's nobody in the room, turn off the lights, turn off the screens. There's no reason to keep them wasting energy. And then I think we're seeing now, and I think we'll see more, is that we want ways to, as we talked about, to streamline the workplace experience. If I want to find a meeting room, can I just talk to AI and let it find a room for me? That's ideal for the size of meeting that I'm going to be having. So we're quite excited to see similar findings through the study.
Really interesting. So with that, a little bit, what are you working on in this field? Is there anything you can talk about here, Morten, on?
Yes. So, no, let's go back one. Yeah. So I think we will continue to use machine learning algorithm to enhance our analytics platform and make it a lot better in forecasting and also do anomaly detection on the data. We are currently engaged in various such research projects with academia around this, so definitely see a change here. As of now, we see that there is a need for a broader human understanding of the data and also what type of work that is being conducted in the office to make a true valuable insights out of these data as of now. Yes, and there's a little bit of a tech warning in this slide, but it's around the model context protocol, and this was actually introduced by Anthropic in November last year, so it's quite new. And MCP, as it's called, it's currently one of the hottest topic in AI right now. And if you look at only the MCP for Node.js framework, it has over 2.4 million downloads per week, and it's 6 months old, so very new. But if you see the large language model here on the left as your consultant that you ask to do work for you, MCP is a way of giving that consultant access to your data, your secret data. So MCP is a way of connecting your data through a secure way through your large language model. And we see more and more big enterprises deploying their own enterprise large language model to be able to be in control and of the data it provides. So it's really exciting, and we can actually say that we are working on a MCP connection for Nimway. If you go back, we will release that, and with that you can actually connect the Nimway data that we collect and analyze, and you can use that in your enterprise large language model and combine it with your other data sources that you may have. So that's really exciting to see where that's taking us.
It's really a combination of openness and AI here.
Yes, exactly.
And John, a little bit, this is like on the big, large. I know you do things on the side as well, and on the device.
So, well, first I need to say that this is really great to see Nimway taking this approach. I think you're probably the first to introduce MCP things to workplace management system. We're very happy to work with you. And IAdea, what we do is working more on the device side. And these are smaller devices, but I think AI is equally important for them. We mainly deploy this today as endpoints that people interact with. So what we believe that's going to drive better workplace experience is to have intelligence working on these devices, making them more responsive to user inputs. So one of the applications that some of our customers are evaluating right now is what we call a virtual receptionist. So this also came out of COVID. There is a shortage of staff available to man every office. That was literally at a very big company a month ago, and I was stuck in front of a building because there's no one at the reception to check me in. So things like this can start. It can start without. It doesn't need to be like a whole development effort. I mean, it can start as a simple video remote communication system where you allow the visitor to dial into a call center where they could get help to check into the building. But eventually, when AI becomes more capable, we can have these devices automate some of the work, and we're starting to see that. So for IAdea, our plan is to make our devices smarter as we go forward, make them more capable. And right now we're evaluating, as LG mentioned, a few small language models because these are domain-specific, customized technology that's designated to make devices smarter in a specific domain because they don't have a large data center to live in. So we look forward to going forward together with Nimway, deploy some of this technology in the coming years.
Really. So I think that was the last one. So let's go over a little bit to Q&A. And I think just coming back to what you talked about here, John, first, let me just I'm reading the questions here. But first one question from me here, and that's around like security and privacy, because I think that's something that's you discussed as well, like legal implications here. But how do you see like security and openness and AI? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
You want to start?
John,
Well, yeah. So for us, Martin mentioned ISO 27001. That's like a minimal requirement that we need to meet. So that has to do with the way we keep data in the system. And as we build open platforms that allow people to expand, it's very important to let people have the confidence that whatever they put into the system is well managed. You don't want to have a data leakage in any system that you deploy, because that will become a instant disaster, and a way for people to lose trust in the system. So for us, we think we cannot do openness without having a secure system.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, you have to have security, of course, but yeah, I think it's totally different things. It's so.
Here's one question that came in as well. How do you see the meeting room intelligence evolve?
I think I mean everything will be more connected, of course, in the room, and I think what we have started with the room intelligence with nudging, I think the room will be more intelligent and make more of these nudges and tell people to shift rooms and extend meetings and so on. So the room it will be more intelligent going forward, I think.
Anything down to add on?
I recently heard a angle that I really love is to look at the room as the next productivity platform. We used to think that desktop is the productivity platform. You have software to allow you to do word processing, create documents. But now we're so fully immersed in a room. Most of us do conference calls inside the room. Right now, we're doing a webinar inside the room. This is where we really create content. This is where we interact. So I think this is going to be a next great area where technology companies come in and enhance our productivity. At the same time, of course, we need to be mindful of the privacy that needs to be taken care of. But I think this is an exciting area that we're fully dedicated in doing.
Actually, there's another question here that came in that is quite relevant to what you're discussing here, because what beyond meeting rooms are we discussing here? Are there other assets and resources that that can be smarter?
Yeah, so already now we are using, for example, room panels for clusters of desks, like we call project spaces. So that is, of course, the involvement that we see happening, that you are expanding the room sort of outside the room and into larger like clusters of desks and other spaces for collaboration.
Yeah, we're seeing similar demands. I think when people come into the office, meeting room is one key area where they conduct their work. But more so, there's inflexible spaces where people flow in and out. And those are particularly difficult to manage sometimes. They don't have a defined boundary. As Martin said, these are pools of desks. If a sales team reserve 8 desks and only 6 show up, can I share the other 2 with engineering team? So there we see more in need of technology. It could be sensors, it could be panels, big, small, and there could be easier ways for people to interact with the space. For example, we recently introduced a docking device, because nowadays it's quite common for enterprises to have docking stations on people's desks. So what if you can tie that as a touch point into the backend space management system? So as people plug into the laptop into the workspace, you immediately know that space is taken.
Right.
Then other people who need to find space know to avoid there, because it's used. You can, even with the user opt-in, you can identify who is at the desk. So for people who are looking for their colleagues, you could provide immediate guidance on where Martin is seated today, because he just plugged in his laptop. When people leave the space, you don't need them to check out. They unplug their laptop, automatically that space is cleared. So those are exciting areas where we're seeing new demand. We need easier ways to manage more challenging spaces. We're quite excited about that.
Yeah.
Really. And there's actually one technical question that came in as well. And that's around like setup and maintenance of devices, and how is that done, and how can that be done smarter? So anything on that from your side?
Yeah, I mean, the installation and setup is of course very important that it goes quickly, and that the installer really like the system that they are installing, because that will ensure a good quality deployment, of course. So very important. And I think devices will be smarter going forward. Maybe they will even know where they are being deployed themselves. So that's really exciting. See where that goes.
Yeah. So I think in terms of physical installation, is quite key to support technology like power over Ethernet. So it is with a single wire, you provide power and connectivity, so you reduce the amount of effort to set up devices. Equally on the device pairing side, because you need to, the screen it needs to know what space is plugging into. As Martin mentioned, traditionally we did it based on like MAC addresses. You need to set up these mapping tables. What if you change the device around or installing the wrong place? So perhaps if we can somehow tie this into a Bluetooth beacon, it might make them easier to set up.
Right.
So it's definitely an area that can be improved.
And also a little bit around the maintenance there. I think, of course, power over Ethernet is one thing, but the other thing is, I guess, it's also long battery lifetime. And I hear Sony just recently announced that the battery lifetime on the sensors is not 7 years; it's actually 10 years. So, can you elaborate on that, Martin?
Yeah. So what we actually did was we were quite conservative in the beginning to say 7 years, but now we have deployed these sensors in the field. We brought a test, a few of them back, and we really measured the energy that was left in those, and we saw that they have a lot of energy left. So 10 years is also very conservative nowadays. Yes.
Don't overpromise, not more time.
But we'll promise 10 years.
There was actually one question that came in here that's related to AI and adoption of AI by FM professionals. So what do you think is the main hurdle for FM professionals to really start adopting the AI? Either of you two?
Maybe I'll take a stab at it. I think it's sometimes about knowledge sharing, because I think with every change, people, as I put in the first slide, we start with this crawl state. We try to try things and see if they work. And then what really accelerates adoption is the sharing of what works. So we have best practices, and I think sometimes vendors like us need to play that role. We need to, share with the end users, what has worked, what has proven worked for some of our end users. And I think AI is definitely one area. There's a lot of ideas, a lot of fancy ideas, but not all of them are practical. So I think we'll be quite excited to going forward to share what really works, what has driven the customer to go from the pilot to a full deployment.
More than anything, Jade.
Yeah. So adoption of AI, I think the services and tools that we provide, we will of course have AI in it. So if they don't even know it's AI in there, it's just intuitive to use. That's what I think it will have also.
And also open and ethical, of course.
Of course.
How we use it in a smart way here. So
you don't want to scare people when they deploy AI.
No.
Right. That's the worst thing.
Exactly.
Security, quality, and
exactly.
And the ethical. So a little bit of question related to this. So future of what we just discussed today, future about like openness and future of AI. Any like?
Yeah, I think one, boring answer is of course regulations. There will be more regulations coming for openness, and also around AI. We did a EU AI Act, of course. So that we will see more of.
Yeah, well, in some of the open platform initiatives or efforts, we're seeing vendors coming together, do what we call a plug fest, having systems that plug into each other and see how well it works and what additional they can do with open platforms. We will see that coming along. And on the AI side, I think we see a lot of mature I would say successful applications of a large language models. We have yet to see enough application of the smaller language models on the edge. I think that's coming very soon.
Yeah,
I think now you have mobile phones that could do very work that will take a artist 3 years ago with professional skills to do. Now you could do it with the click of a screen. We're quite excited to see that becoming more available in the workplace.
Yes, really exciting.
Yeah. And also getting out to all the professionals in the field to really make use of it and really understanding the data that you have. And the data.
Hopefully we'll be able to share more on this channel.
Yeah. So let's hope that we can come back to that. Let me just see if there's any more key questions. There's questions around analytics and getting insights. I think we touched upon that a bit. Anything more you want to say on that?
No, I think they will get better over time now with the AI algorithm that we are developing, and you will also see more forecasting functions, and also like and things like that.
Yeah, I think for us, it's more about automation. It's like what we do after you learn the intelligence. I think we're seeing, for example, the docking stations getting more automation where people plug in. But that still needs to be experimented and delivered.
Yeah, but it also adds a data point to the Nimway.
Definitely does.
We can probably utilize them.
And it's very effortless, very frictionless.
Yes. Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
So if we summarize the topics today, so I think you mentioned productivity platform, and I think all in all, both the office space and the meeting rooms, but also, of course, the traditional desks, that is all about productivity platforms and how to use that in the best possible way. How we can optimize how the space is being utilized, both today with the analytics that we have today, but also going forward with AI technologies, and of course also the openness. So you can touch it into other systems, being AI systems or being other kinds of data providers or systems. So I think we had a really interesting discussion here today. So thank you so much, Morten, and thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone that listened to the podcast or the webcast today. And we will actually send out the report that Morten referred to earlier regarding AI and in the FM industry. We will send out invitations to future webcasts to you guys. So thank you everyone for joining,